here. Okay, now we're live. Okay, good. Well, yeah, good to see you again, Neil. And man, we have the illustrious Sister Soldier with us today. That's awesome. Um,
Hello, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I just wanted to jump on. I'm going to be listening in. I'm headed to the gym.
Oh yeah, cool.
Okay.
Well, let's see. Have you been to a training before?
No, I have not. This
Okay.
is my first one. I happened to see the email, and so I said I'd jump on.
Okay. Well, normally we would kind of go through the basics and just, here's the basic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're going to be on the road anyway, um, that we'll probably just dive right into Neil's questions and you know,
Yeah, by all
um,
means.
and
I'm
then
just
also
listening in.
just so we're recording this. It's available on YouTube, and also previous sessions are on YouTube too. So,
Okay.
if you want to go back and watch one of the previous ones to get a little more review or whatever, that's great.
Okay. Sounds great. Thank you.
Sure. So Neil, tell me about your progress so far. How's it going?
Yeah, good. Except for kind of run into a situation where yesterday I spent a good, at least an hour designing a nice decorative template, I guess I would call it. Well, let me see. I went to campaigns, and then I think I started with create campaign.
Right.
Or no, maybe that wasn't it. Oh, I went into, gosh, I got to remember the pathway, but I clicked on blank, and then I started to, add the pictures and the copy and all that stuff. Did a test email. Was good. So I hit save, thinking that I was going to be able to go back in there and still go and edit it. And I don't know if I can or not, but if I can, I don't know how to go back and find it again and edit it.
I see. Okay. Yeah. Well, you're probably just looking in the wrong place, most likely. But there are a couple of little glitches that happen sometimes. Let's see. You know what? If you want, share your screen, and that way we can get right to the bottom of it.
Okay. Let's see. Let me see how I do. Okay, share screen. I see this right there. Optimize for video. Optimize for readability. I guess I'll do readability. Let's do entire screen. Wow.
Okay, there we go.
Cool. Can you see I'm sure you see the split screen. Can you see everything good on your end? Do I need to do anything?
Yeah, I can see it. Okay. Yeah, so you want to change the actual email itself, right? Make some changes to it, right?
Not the, well, I don't, it's the email template, I guess. So yeah, I went into here and I clicked on this, named it.
Yeah.
But now I'm trying to find the one that I created. When I go in here, I could see my partner created a few. Let me see what, yeah, the arrow tray here. Oh, geez, I found it.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes that preview doesn't get populated if you don't save it when you're leaving it, and that makes it a little quirky to find.
Okay.
But cool. Yeah, it looks good.
Awesome. All right. So next step, I guess, is just I need to now figure out which list or campaign to attach that to, which I've already downloaded a list of hauling companies that I thought might be in. This was kind of an experimental campaign as a first campaign. So I'm selling a cargo trailer.
Right.
And I thought, well, I'm going to scrape a list of people that own hauling companies and reach out to them and see if they're interested in it.
Yeah.
And so I already have them in the system. I think I've listed them as, industry hauling. So now I'm guessing I would just add a list to it or a trigger that says anybody that is in the hauling industry, send it to them. I might be getting a little ahead of myself because I haven't
Yeah.
done all this process yet, or, but maybe you
Yeah.
could explain that.
No, you're on the right track. And yeah, I mean, what I would try to do is first just send it to yourself, put your own personal address in there and, set that field to be hauling industry or whatever. Right. And just make sure it works for you. Right. Just kind of a reality check. And then once you see that, it'll give you a lot more confidence that you know what you're doing and you can turn it on for everybody else. But let's back up. A couple of things. You said you downloaded a list, so you have a whole list of people, right?
Right. Yep.
To send this to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I don't, you don't really need to create an automation for that unless you just want to. Like if you think you're going to be constantly, day in and day out finding a handful of other hauling industry leads and putting them into the system, then an automation might be handy. But like right here, what are we looking at here?
This is the list that I gathered of the hauling companies.
Okay. So what you would do is you go up to, see the orange email button there at the top, kind of on the left.
Orange email. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Just click that. And then in that search bar at the top, type in the name of the campaign, or you can click on recent. It may show up in there too.
Okay. All right.
Is that it right there?
Uh-huh. Yep.
Click on it. Yep.
Yep. Okay. Time and date. All right. End date.
Yeah. Now, hold on. One thing that I'm noticing.
Yeah.
There should be where it says campaign activities.
Yeah. Huh? Yep.
There should be an email activity shown there, but there's not. So it looks like we didn't get that part done. So we need to go back and do that. So if you go to campaigns.
To campaigns. Okay.
Yeah. And then view campaigns.
Uh-huh.
And we're just going to edit that same campaign.
Okay.
Yep. There you go. So down at the bottom on the left, see where it says add?
Uh-huh.
You have to add that email in there.
Email add. Okay.
There you go.
So I'm still trying to figure out what I'm doing. When it says add email, does that mean it's adding my email, like the to and from email? Is that what's going on right now?
No, we're adding the template.
Okay.
So,
So all of their emails.
no, see that drop down that you're looking at there, that where it says from address.
Uh-huh.
That's just, you and any other user of SalesNexus in your account, right? So that's where you can determine who it's going to come from, right? And then you see, yeah, there's where you would choose the actual template itself.
Okay.
There you go.
And then the subject will be the subject line of the email, I'm guessing.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. I could go back.
Go ahead and put something in there. I want to, you can change it later, but just so we can go through all the motions here.
Okay.
There you go.
Can I, if I could go back in here and change it later if I need to, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Hit save.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. So now we've got that one email into the campaign. Now make sure and hit save campaign over there on the right, just the blue save campaign only.
Okay.
Just so we don't lose what we got. And now you see you have the automate campaign button, and then you have save and begin campaign, right? So like I said, I'm not sure an automation is really the right thing in this case. So let's click save and begin campaign.
Okay. Save.
We won't actually That's the one to the right of that blue button. There you go.
Right. I'm just looking, so I don't need to check any of these. Email, click notifications, click. What do these
Nah.
do? Okay. Notify. Okay. All right. All right.
Okay, so
And
now we're back to basically where we were earlier, where you can set the time and the date, right? And then you see where it says below that, where it says current lookup, and that option is checked, right?
right.
So that's that list that you did earlier, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if you just hit begin campaign, then it's going to send that template to those people.
And that leads me to wonder, does it like do it all at once, or does it drip feed them? Oh, it does it over the period of time. That's why the whole point of putting the time period in there. Okay.
Yeah. And for I mean, this is a very small list, so it's pretty much going to go out instantaneously.
Okay.
If it was 30,000 people or something like that, it would spread out over an hour or something.
Okay.
So,
and it doesn't cause any red flags or issues to be sending that big of a volume of emails?
No, I mean, in the grand scheme of the internet world, 300 is very small, right?
Okay.
But it's a good point that you're bringing up. And that's the other thing I wanted to make sure and ask. Have you set up your DCAM?
Yes, I have for one of my businesses. And then
Okay.
I emailed your staff to swap that out so I could put another one in there. I'm just trying to decide whether or not I want to do that under one of my users, or if I want to do it under a current account.
Okay, but you're logged on as you right now?
Yes, sir.
And so let's just check. Go over to your profile picture on the top right.
Okay.
And hit my record.
Oops, my record. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So there's your email address, and the green check mark tells us that your DCAM is set up for that domain.
Mm-hmm.
So when you send that campaign, if you say send it from current user, that means you. Mm-hmm. So it's going to use that as the from address.
Okay.
And your DCAM set up, so you're good to go. Does that everything make sense?
Yeah. So the next question that leads to is, I was thinking I probably should have originally set this up under one of my other emails, which is ecomeconomics.com, because that's the parent company of this one, but I mostly operate under Jedi Web Services.
Yeah.
But because there's other things I'm going to be doing for other businesses, sometimes it's going to make more sense to send from the parent company.
Sure.
So, like say then if I now go in there and register the DCAM for ecomeconomics.com, does that mean I'm going to have two different records here with my name in it and two different emails? Or do I have to go in here and swap out that email each time I want to do a different campaign to represent a particular email?
Yeah, no, it's the latter. Or like I think you kind of alluded to earlier, you can have different users, and then when you log on as Neil, your from address is this, but then when you log on as Neil2, then your from address is something else, right?
Right. Okay.
What's the best way to say it? The DCAM and this from address are really not linked together. Obviously, you want them to be aligned, is what we would say, meaning you want to be sending from an address that does have the DCAM set up, right? But you can swap it in and out for whatever user that you want, so you could use this address for your Neil user. And then, a week from now, you could use the same address for one of your second or third users.
As long as I don't have two campaigns going on at the same time that require each of those. Yeah. Okay.
That's the reason that most people do it by user, because it makes it simpler to just manage it,
Right. Okay. All right. That makes sense.
Let's see. Yeah, I remember it was a couple of days ago or yesterday and I think the support team is setting you up to get the DCAM set up for the that second domain, right?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Have
Yeah.
they? Do you know if they've cleared that out for you yet?
They have, and they're fast at doing that. So you got a great team. Thank you for
Yeah, for sure.
having
Yeah.
for you guys following up with that. Yeah, right now
Good.
I'm just trying to decide which, but you helped me. I think you helped me decide which way to do it. So I think I'm going to use a different user.
Yeah, that's the best. It's easier to manage. Otherwise you're just taking a bunch of stress on yourself to try and keep it straight, you know?
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Another question that's not really even that important. I was just more curious, and I think I know the answer to it. But like I created a category for business Facebook page, because sometimes they got a personal page and then sometimes they got a separate business Facebook page.
Right, sure.
Same thing with LinkedIn. But when I add that there, it just shows the regular www icon instead of having a Facebook icon next to it.
Mm.
And it's not really important. It's more, I'm just curious, is there a way to change those icons or?
No, if it's not one of our built-in social fields, then it's just going to use that. That's just our symbol for it's a link, not a regular field.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool. Well, that's part of that's the DCAM, right? Yeah. Yep. Cool. All right. Let's see. What else? I had, when I downloaded that list, or uploaded, I should say, to SalesNexus of the hauling companies, I ran that green check thing to optimize it. And it did a good job, but I noticed some of them, it deleted the business name. It didn't actually delete it completely because I was able to go in there and click on it and see the business name, and I could just highlight it and copy and paste it back.
Huh.
But I was wondering how that would have happened, or did I do something wrong, or is that something that just sometimes happens?
Are you able to show me an example? Because I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Yeah, I wish I could, because after it happened, I was like, oh, I guess I'm going to use this as an opportunity to experiment with uploading the same list, but checking the different boxes so that it fills in the correct information. And that's how I got that business name back pretty
Right.
easily. So it wasn't a big issue.
So the business name was still in a different field?
Yeah, like, so if I go over here to my lookup, under company, you can see all the business names listed.
Yep.
But after I ran that, it added a bunch of the people's names, which I think is near the end of the list. Here it is. Yep. So it gave me a bunch of the people's names, but I noticed that all of a sudden I didn't have, there was probably about 30 or so company names that were missing, and maybe they were already missing and I didn't notice it somehow. But when I ran that list through there again, it populated everything that was missing. So,
oh, you reloaded it. Is that what you mean?
Right.
I see.
Yeah. While checking the box that says, don't add as a new contact if there's already an email there.
Yeah, I've never seen that before. Technically speaking, the way it is supposed to work is that if there is already data in a field, that enrichment process will not change it. You know, so we're assuming that whatever you've put in yourself is more accurate than what we have, right? So if that's not what's happening, then that's a bug we need to address. So if you haven't run into that again, maybe take a screenshot of the problem before you fix it, you know?
Okay. Yep.
And that'll help us try to track it down.
Cool. It made me think of another question I was thinking that I haven't had time to really investigate. And that is, when I update a record in any type of syncing going on, I'm assuming the syncing just goes from my other devices to SalesNexus, but does it ever go the other way around where I change something on SalesNexus and it changes it on my phone or my Google accounts?
The calendar, yes, it's two-way.
Okay.
The contacts, I think it is two-way, but I honestly, I'm confusing myself in my mind right now, so I'm not 100% sure of myself, but I think so. Um, and then, of course, the email part, that's just one way. You know, when we're bringing in the email capture, you know,
Right.
or archiving the emails.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, the calendar, it is. In fact, it works pretty well. Like, if I don't know if you use your Google Calendar a lot, and you know, send people invites and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I do. I just haven't done it through the SalesNexus yet.
Yeah. Well, what I mean is you can just do it through Google.
Mm-hmm.
And if that customer is in SalesNexus with the same email address, then when the calendar sync happens, it'll actually put a task on that contact for you. That you know, you have a meeting next Tuesday or whatever. You know, so they end up showing up on your task list. It where I find that really handy is when a customer is sending you an invite, right? You didn't initiate it yourself. They sent you an invite. You just accept it. It goes on your calendar. And the next thing you know, it's already connected to their contact in SalesNexus.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, these are some areas I'm looking forward to exploring.
Yeah.
As I
Have you worked on trying to connect to a web form yet?
No, you mean like a wait? Is that the same as like a webhook or?
No, what I mean is like a contact us form on your website or something like that. So when they submit it, it would go into SalesNexus.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, I have not connected that yet, but that is part of the intentions. And I also have another tool that does that, and I'm trying to figure out how to integrate it so that when that does that, it's going to add the leads to the SalesNexus.
So are you like you build websites for your clients, right?
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So do you typically use WordPress?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you just mentioned some other system. What system?
Socialmonials.
Huh. That is a new one on me. That's like
Yeah.
a plugin in WordPress?
No, it's not a WordPress plugin. It is it's an app or tool that uh, does automated social media posts, but that you schedule, but it also allows us to create, add contact forms and creates lead generators, and it does games and contests to encourage people to leave their contact info and other info.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I got to check that out, man. That sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Well, so on some level though, it's kind of like Hootsuite. Do you know Hootsuite?
I know a little bit. I haven't checked that out in years,
Yeah.
but I got it. I have some ideas of what it does. Yeah.
Yeah. We used to use that a lot. Well, okay. So what you're saying is you need the form to be set up so that it kind of sends the data to that tool and to SalesNexus both.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So
that, yeah. And if they don't immediately communicate, I also got Task Magic that I still have to figure out how to use, but those are part of the things that's going to help link these things together.
You mean like if they fill out the form, but you can't reach them?
Meaning if there isn't an easy way. So right now when they fill out the form and the lead comes through, or with the contact, it goes into my system, and I could see that within the website, and I could see that on my in my email, but I still don't have that transferred into a contact onto SalesNexus automatically, which is the ultimate goal that I have, so that that SalesNexus just keeps populating for me on
right.
autopilot. Yeah.
Yeah. Huh. Wow. Well, this is going to be a pretty elaborate system once you get everything all connected up, right?
Yeah.
So I want to see, I want you to walk me through it once you get it all connected up. That's going to be impressive.
Yeah. I'm excited.
Have you talked with Caleb on our team?
I have not.
Yeah, I need to connect you two guys because he used to work for a client. That's how we met. He was a client. And he did some crazy stuff with, like 10 different apps all connected through Zapier and SalesNexus. And it was so elaborate, so impressive. And we're so lucky to have him on the team now. But he's going to want to see what you're doing.
Oh yeah, I'd love to speak with him. That'd be great.
I think you're talking about a widget, are you not? Using a widget,
It's
Well,
kind of like
an
that.
embed code on a widget.
Right. Yeah, that's the way SalesNexus connects to your website is you'll.
Yeah, that's what I think he's asking. He's asking to use a widget, using it. He wants to embed it on the website using a widget.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can show you that. Do you know where to get to that, Neil?
Well, which part? I know how to embed widgets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, to set up the lead capture part of SalesNexus, what we call the web lead capture.
Yeah, I guess I don't. I haven't
Oh, okay.
accessed
Well,
that part through the system through.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do that to do all of this that you're planning. That's for sure. Are you guys seeing my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So, all right. So now I'm in SalesNexus. If you go up to settings and then integrations
Settings.
and then website
Uh-huh.
and see the way this works is it's 2 steps, really 3 steps. Step 1 is you choose the fields in SalesNexus that you want your form to populate, So you would click here and just like you're used to in other parts of SalesNexus when you're doing your layout and stuff, you got all your fields over here and you can choose which ones your form is going to talk to, basically, right? So I have the email address and the lead source. Maybe I also am going to plan to get their phone number in my form, right? Whoops. Get down there to the phone number. So I'll move the phone number over and maybe also their full name. I could do first and last too, but just for everybody's benefit, one little trick about our system is the full name is not called full name, it's called contact. So I want to grab that. And, you can grab any of your custom fields too if you want to. Then you can see also you can put in sales fields. So like if it's some people have like a request for quote form on their site or something, you can put sales amounts and products and things like that. But I'll just save that. So now you can see here, I have those same fields that I just selected. And what I need to do is map these SalesNexus fields to the field name in the web form, which depending on what system you're using for your website, it can get a little tricky sometimes. And Neil, with your experience, you'll probably understand this. You can see, are you guys seeing this drop down?
Yes.
Yeah. So, you can use their ID or the name or the class, depending on how your form is built. Usually ID or name is going to be most straightforward. So like, essentially what you would do is go and do, actually, let's just take the time to do this since it's just us. Go to salesnexus.com/free trial. So you would go to your form on your website and just navigate to wherever the form itself is, like you see here on our site. And what I can do is just right click on each field in the form. And in your browser, you can choose inspect. And so you can see it highlights the code in that page that is that field. And I can look here and I can see there's the ID of the field and there's the name, right? So I can choose either one of those. I'm going to just choose the name and copy that and then go back to the contact field here. And I'll change this to name and put that name in there. Does that make sense, what I just did, Neil? Yeah?
Sounds easy
Okay.
enough.
Yeah, so you would just do that for each field, and like I say, most of the time it's pretty straightforward. Like I don't know, for whatever reason, in this case, the ID is jumping out at me more easily than the name, so I'll use that. And so here I'm going to change this to ID and put that in there. So and then phone, let's say that it's probably called phone. We won't bother to check. Right. Then the other thing that's kind of a neat trick here, lead source is not a field that's in my form, but I like to keep everything organized in my SalesNexus database so that I know I can always go and look up all the people that are in my database because they filled out a form, right? So I can, for any field like that, one of my key sort of organization fields, I can go here and just say constant and then put whatever I want here, new lead. So now everybody that gets added to my SalesNexus via this form will always have lead source equal to new lead. And so I'll be able to find them easy. And then for the submit, it's usually something like this. Whoops. So we get all that done, and then you hit save and generate script, and it just gives you a little JavaScript script tag, Right. And then you go into WordPress, and depending on the plugin, it'll work different ways. Sometimes you have to use the little, custom code option that some of them have.
Do you put it in the header, or do you put it in the area where the contact form field is? It's usually in where the form is. Okay. Because you don't want it showing up on all your pages. Right. But yeah, so you essentially what you're doing is putting that script tag in there so that when they hit submit, that script gets called. Right. And does this script create a brand new contact form, or does it just pull from the information that's already in the contact form that's already on the site? Yeah, no, it's the latter. It's just sending the data to SalesNexus. It's not building a form. Okay. Yeah. So, for that reason, sometimes you can kind of double dip, which I think is kind of what you were talking about earlier, where the form itself can send the data to one system and then also to SalesNexus, right? Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. It depends on the other system's code,
Do you know what this is right there? The right thing to put in under ID?
Say it again.
She was asking about the field where it says ID. She said, I know what that is. And actually, I didn't know where you got that in. Okay, email ID. Go back to the screen you were just on.
Oh, sorry. Yep. Right here?
Yeah, that first field where it says email ID, that information you got there that you put in there is from
the form. Let me show you. So remember what I did was I went to, you go to your form, right, and just right click, right? And then I did inspect. And so it just highlights this code over here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I see right here, the ID equals whatever that is, right? You know, so I just grab that.
I'll show you how to do that.
Does that make sense? It's a little nerdy, I guess, or technical.
Like, it's just taken from the pre-formatted templates.
Well, no, this will be, it's going to look different depending on your website and the plugin you're using to build your forms.
Okay.
But I guess the important thing to know is that we've built this in this way because one way or the other, they always have an ID or a name or a class, you know, different systems work in different ways. But you just want to, most often, the straightforward way to figure it out is just right click on the field, inspect, and then you want to find either the ID or the name. If you can't find that, then use the class.
So what you're saying is that you don't actually add a form, you just enhance a current form that we may have in there.
That is correct. Exactly.
Okay. Okay.
That's right. Essentially what we're doing is the form already in your system, your website, it has, you know, variable names for each of these fields. And we're just figuring out what they are so that we can put them in here so that, and then we build it into that script so that it's saying whatever, you know, when submit is hit, whatever is in this variable, put it in the email address.
So if I have a CRM, maybe Active Campaign, VBout, and it already has a form on my website, and then I just use your system to check the code out and do what you just did, it'll be added to both systems?
It should be, yeah. So like I said before, sometimes there's a conflict between the two different scripts, you know. But when you're working on this, if you run into trouble, just let the support team know because it's pretty easy for them to test it. They can look at the logs and see what error messages we're getting and usually help you sort it out.
Okay, so we shouldn't need anything like Zapier or any additional or Task Magic like he was stating in order to connect everything and have it go to two different places.
That's correct. That's correct.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah, I don't know. I find this, you know, kind of borderline a little too technical for me, right? I've done it enough times that I've kind of gotten good at it. But when somebody showed me, just go to the form, right click, inspect, find the ID or the name, copy it, put it in there. I can do that, you know? But, you know, like I said before, if you guys need help, just let us know.
Cool. Yep. Easy. Awesome.
And then what you'll want to do is like here, I'm doing lead source is always going to be set to the new lead, right? Or I might, you know, maybe let's make it more specific, new web lead, or, you know, you could even use the specific page name so you can track different landing pages that you have if you wanted to. But in this case, the lead source would always be equal to new web lead. So what I would do is I would then go and set up an automation plan. That would look something like this. I already have one that's kind of basically doing this. Where I'll say when the lead source is equal to, you know, website or new web lead or whatever it is that you've chosen in there, right? Then automatically trigger this campaign. right? So that's how those two things work together. You want to have some unique value when that form puts a new contact into SalesNexus. It's going to trigger an automation. So now the people that fill out that form are automatically getting an email, and you're getting a reminder to call them and text messages and whatever you want that sequence to be. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay, good.
Mhm.
Neil, you with us?
Yeah. Another question I have that's a little off topic from what we're talking about, but I want to ask before I forget it.
Sure.
It is, how do I add a date without the year? Like I know how to create like a a custom field where I could create just like text and then write a date, but I
Yeah.
don't know if that will trigger stuff as well as having the calendar date in place. Maybe you can tell me.
We don't really have a field type like that. You could, well, let's back up. What are you trying to accomplish?
So say I want to say I know somebody's birthday, but I don't know the year they're born, but I want to make sure that I get a reminder of their birthday. And so I want to put their birth date in there and have some kind of trigger that maybe the trigger might be to send them a birthday message, or a birthday, and, but it just feels weird to put, to 2025 when they're like, 50 years old or something. And just wondered if, there, if there's what your thoughts are about that.
Yeah, that's a great point. I don't think anybody's ever asked me that question, so I'm thinking a little bit. Because mostly when I think about using dates and stuff, I'm thinking of renewal dates and stuff like that. But to your point, those are always going to move along into the future, right? The year will change. Let's see. There is a birth date field, but it has a year. That's a really good question. You know what? Like in my mind, I'm thinking of software ways we could make that real easy. But that's something I would have to get the developers to look at. Like, they're really, the easy way to do it would be when you're on a contact. Let me just show you guys this, because this is a little detail that everybody needs to know sooner or later. Not exactly related to your question, Neil, but bear with me. I'll get to it. Last name. Okay. So I'm going to put first name and last name on the screen. And so if I change Matt's last name here to Matt Marketing, you see last name just got updated too automatically. So there's a script, or if I change this to just M, that'll update his contact. See? So those fields are linked together.
Right.
And it seems to me like we need birth date to be the same way, right? There needs to be a birth month, birthday, birth year that, all work together in the same way.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause that's another great idea, maybe want to send an email out to April babies, or whatever.
Yeah.
But, something else I thought of that I was going to ask you is what do you suggest doing if we have a contact that, is in the system as Frederick, but that he goes by Freddie? Is there like a nickname field, or how do you suggest navigating that?
Yeah, that's what, in fact, there may be a field in there already. And actually my database is probably the wrong place to look, because we've added all kinds of crazy stuff here, but there's a salutation field. Yeah, that one's built into everybody's database. And that would be my go-to, is I would just use that.
Okay.
But you could create your own, just nickname or whatever.
Cool. All right. Yeah. Yep.
And then let's see. Yeah. So back on the birthday question, I will ask the team about that, because it's possible that there's just some tricks I don't know about. It just, what's striking me as we're talking about it is, I can't believe this hasn't come up before, so there must be an answer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But even if there's not, I'll see what kind of workarounds we can come up with, and we'll probably add it to our list of things to do.
Most companies, I think I've seen where they don't have a specific date, unless you're in real estate, something called Wise Agent does that. But most of them just send it out like that month, like a monthly newsletter or something. So
So just
maybe,
first month.
yeah. So even if you put the first day of that month and send it to them, that might be, might be good
Yeah.
until the solution is figured out.
Yeah, no, that's a good idea. Yeah, you could just have a birth month field, which is a drop down with just all the months. And you could set up an automation based on that, but it wouldn't be as precise as you might like it to be, I guess. Yeah, like I say, let me check on that, Neil. That's a good one.
Yeah. Might be a matter of like tweaking some of the coding or capabilities to make those fields possible.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Well, what else? What other questions you guys have?
That's all that comes to mind right now for me.
Let's see, sister. What about you? Any questions? Or did she leave? Yeah, it looks like it. No. Well, Neil, you know how to get in touch with us. So certainly reach out if there's any questions that come up along the way here. And then, like I said, I'm going to check into this birth date question, and I'll circle back with you by early next week.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. I'm curious. I know you've been doing this for like over 16 years or something like that. Did you develop this yourself, or did you have a team of developers do this for you? How did you get into this?
That's a good question. No, I didn't do the development myself. I was a VP of sales in the energy business for a couple of different, energy service companies. And so I was a user of these kind of things. And, long time ago now, the company I worked for got acquired, and I had a little bit of a windfall as a result of that, and decided, you know what, I think we can build a better mousetrap. And so that's when we started SalesNexus.
Nice.
So, we've had different developers involved all along, from as the things have evolved. We've outsourced it sometimes. We've had people internally here in the U.S. on, kind of on the payroll, as it were. And now it's kind of a combo. We got a little bit of everything.
Cool. Well, yeah, I dig it. I think you guys developed something pretty awesome.
Well, I appreciate that. And we are working on right now a major overhaul of the system to bring more AI into it, to update the UI so it's a little more modern and just simpler, and also open up a lot more integration capabilities, really take the API to a whole different level. So we're hoping by, late this year, some of that's starting to come out into the real world.
Cool. Perfect. Cool. Well, I'll stay in the loop and keep you updated with my progress, and appreciate all the support.
Yeah, no, thank you. And have a great weekend. And I'll be in touch early next week.
Sounds good. Thanks, Greg.
Thanks, Neil. Bye-bye.